Hello and welcome to Below the Mic. I just wanted to give a little update. So this is going to be kind of a short night, but for those of you who have listened to my previous podcast episode, this is just a little bit of an update. I don't have a lot of information to share just yet, but just know that it seems like I have some other folks helping me work on things. For those of you who did listen or didn't, if you didn't, maybe go back and listen and you'll understand a little bit more about the story and where this is going and hopefully will end up. But back in September, around September 26th, I had decided to just search Facebook for a little bit, and I found a Facebook page for the Horseshoe Lake Estates in Romare, Texas. And that's where the previous incident that I talked about on my other podcast occurred. And so I joined their Facebook page and just put a little bit of my story out and asked a few questions. And a couple of people got back with me, and one of those happened to be a cousin. So she had checked with some other people that asked who I was and said that yes, that we're related, and her name is Belinda, and I'm hoping to get her on one of my episodes for our first actual online face-to-face meeting. I've only been able to text her a couple times. Our work schedules have been a little crazy, and but I'm really hoping to contact her again real soon. I sent her a message tonight just to see what her schedule's like, and I'm waiting to hear back from her. She's a twin, which is pretty cool because my son was a twin as well, and that's a whole different story I'll share at some other time. But and then she has another younger sister, so I have some other cousins out there that I don't remember meeting as a young girl, and they currently live around Cleveland, Texas area. And her grandmother was Nellie Morris, and Nellie passed away, but Nellie happened to be my aunt. So Belinda and I are second cousins, I believe. So again, I'm just really looking forward to meeting her and my other cousins, and hope to plan a trip real soon. But she did say that Nellie had, which was her grandmother, my aunt, told them a bunch of stories and such. And I did ask her if she has any pictures of my dad, because I'm very limited on anything that I have of my father. And I know they lost a lot of things in a lot of the recent, and past floods. So she's going to take a look around, but she says she has so many stories to share with me, and I can't wait to hear those. Someone else also reached out to me, and I'm not quite sure if she got my information from the post that I made on Horseshoe Lake Estates on their page, but or if she heard my story on my previous podcast and reached out. But she did send me some information, and she had done a search on, and I'm not familiar with this, but it's called David Gray's People Finder. And she was able to find like Dolores Antoinette's birth information, and of course her parents' names, which I had, but it took me several years to find that information. But she did was able to locate that information. And so she sent me a few pages because she did some research, and she found a few pages of names of all the girls that were born on 7/11 of 1977, which is the date that my sister was born and who I am currently searching for. Her name is Nancy Marie Williams at birth. I don't know if she was adopted or what happened to her, but Andrea has sent me a list, and there's a little confusion there. She thought that maybe Dolores was my mother, but she's not. Nancy and I share the same father, who is James Thomas Williams. And so she said that she's going to be working on those lists, and hopefully we will have some leads and see if one of the ladies on that list happens to be the sister that I've been looking for so many years. And so tonight I was just doing a little searching as well, and trying to search Facebook, and Google search. Sometimes it's hit or miss. Sometimes you get some information and it seems, and then and sometimes you just don't really get much at all. I have found it over the years much harder to search for a female because their name can change so frequently. And a lot of times with the possible birth dates or very similar names, it's been a lot of dead ends, to be honest with you. But tonight I did a little research too, and I was looking for Rosemary, Ramona, or Sack. I found one in particular in Houston, which the area would make sense, right? And I was born in Houston, and so was my sister, and so it really does make sense that that may be where she's located. I don't know that this person is the same Rosemary that I'm looking for, um, because I'm not quite exactly sure how old Rosemary was in 1977. And the police affidavit I have is it just states possibly, 25 years old. But I don't know that that would make her probably born in around 1952. And the one I found says that she's about 65 years old. So I don't know how accurate that is and if she's the one that I'm searching for or not. But so I sent her a message. I'm waiting to see if she's the one that lived in Romare in 1977. And I also sent a message to her brother that was listed, on her Facebook, and to see if, he knows anything, if he was in the area, or may be able to get me in touch with her. It doesn't look like Rosemary's posted anything this year, but of course she could have her profile set to, private, or that I can only see certain posts that are made public. So that's a possibility as well. So I don't know if that's going to lead us anywhere or not. I'm definitely not giving up the search, and I'm going to continue. And, I can't search every day, obviously, because I have a job. And I'm just doing this just occasion, kind of get the story out. And I do have a guest speaker who will be recording with me here very soon. And I will release a few clips over the next week or two once she's ready. And we are going to have a really deep conversation, and we'll likely have a lot of trigger words and things in it. And it definitely will not be child approved, and it was only adult content, but very sensitive information. And I'm so thankful that she's wanting to share her story. We have so many things in common without giving any information just yet, but we can relate. We're both in the medical field, and we're both in medical field for many different reasons. And although our past experiences are not exactly alike, we do share some similarities of experiences with different entities that we feel have not done their job in protecting people that should be protected. I really look forward to her telling her story, because she said, and I do believe this as well, that we have met for a reason. And I do believe that people are brought into my life for a reason. I don't always know what those reasons are. And sometimes when I feel like life just really isn't going the way that I expected it to, or that I feel like I've been thrown a really big curveball, and it may be, a moment where I'm just kind of struggling to find out, is this really what, life is about? And is this how I'm supposed to be spending my life? Because it's not exactly how I expected it. But at the same time, I am so thankful for the people I have in my life and the time I get to spend with them. And I can tell you that I got a phone call the other day from my grandson. He'll be 2 next month, and he's such a special little guy, and I cannot wait to share his story with you guys. And I'm sure there will be so many who will relate to his story as well. And hopefully his story will be able to help others too. That's why I'm doing this. If one thing helps somebody to process and to let them know that they're not alone, or to give them some other information to maybe look in a different direction or something that they may not have thought of before, then what I'm doing is making a difference. And that's really important to me. But he did call me the other day, and my daughter, he just starts babbling, of course, some things I don't understand, some things I do. And they're within walking distance. They only live a few blocks away, which makes it really great. he told his mama that he needed to go for a walkie. And when he says walkie, he wants to go for a walk. And he says, I want to go for a walkie to Nana's house. So, and he was grabbing his shoes and putting them on. And, that is such a warm and an awesome feeling to know that he knows that he is welcome anytime and that he can call me anytime. And I'll always be there for him. Um, and my other grandkids are, the same way. They know that no matter what time of day or night it is, if they need me, I'm there. So I really hope that some of this information is enlightened what's going on in my life, partly anyway. I can say that last week was definitely a huge challenge for me. I was headed out to see, I'd already finished up seeing some patients and was headed out to see a couple more when my car decided to take a smoke break. I was really, really feeling guilty of not being able to make it to my destinations. And I'm so thankful that my patients' families are so thoughtful to know that and understand that I am human and human things happen in my life as well. And that, I do work with a great team and we all pull together to make those things happen. And I'm so thankful for that and so thankful for my career and what I do. Even in, one of the worst moments that made me feel really guilty of not being able to make it where I was going, there was also had to have been a reason that I was, broke down where I broke down. I wasn't on the side of the highway. Kind of I was. I was able to pull into a restaurant parking lot, but I wasn't stranded on the highway in the middle of nowhere where nobody could get to me. And I was thankful my daughter and my grandkids were able to come and pick me up and get the car towed home. But took a few days for it to get fixed, but I am on the road again as of yesterday, and this occurred last Friday. So it really made me slow down a little bit in my life and get outside a little more to spend a little more time outdoors on my bike and with some friends, and was able to visit with who I call my bonus son, who is visiting from Maine, and I really needed that. I needed that moment to kind of slow down and look at life and just enjoy being with the people that are around me, that I'm surrounded by. And I'm so thankful for that. But I hate it that it took my car smoking on the side of the road to make me realize that sometimes I just need to take a moment to myself and for myself and know that my cup still runneth over with lots of love from my friends and my family. And that also a reminder that things are temporary, life is temporary, things in our life is temporary, and it's up to us to figure out how we want to process and know how much we can process at the same time and know when it's time to take a break. But I'm not taking a break from this tonight. I am just up and looking forward. I actually have another cousin who reached out to me on my maternal side, and I'm getting ready to get on the phone with him. And I've never met him either. So social media is wonderful, and in a lot of ways. In some ways, it's not. But again, we have to regulate and to process what things, if things are negative or said negatively in a manner to try to hurt somebody, then, we need to know how to process that and just move on from it and know that the answers are out there and somebody knows, somebody has an answer to my questions, and somebody knows what has happened, or somebody knows where I can find my sister Nancy Marie Williams, or whatever her name has changed to, if in fact she was adopted as a baby. And if she's, no longer living on this earth, then, I still want to know that information too. I do think that is important to be able to know people in your family. I was kept away from my father's side of the family for most of my life after his death in 1977. And I've seen my children and my grandchildren going through things medically that when people ask you about your medical history, your family history, I don't know. I don't have any answers, and it's left a lot of questions. And I am finding out some answers just by the two cousins that have recently reached out to me. And I'm so thankful for that. And I'm really hoping that that will point us in some other directions in our personal lives that we have unanswered questions for. And my son, he is in his 20s, and just this year, he had a scare, and ever since he was 7 years old, he has suffered from some excruciating leg pain, and we've never known why. He's not a diabetic. I am a nurse, so his pain is not the typical what a diabetic would describe as diabetic neuropathy, but they did diagnose him with neuropathy at a very young age. And I have very fond memories of him, very vivid memories of him just coming in and climbing into bed with me as a young boy and just saying, "Mommy, my legs hurt. They feel so cold." But I would touch them and they would feel warm, they would feel normal. And I felt so helpless and really just didn't know what to do and how to help him. And for years and years it has affected his balance and affected his overall health, and wanting to get out and do more things, and um, being up and on his feet and working and coming home in tears because the pain is just excruciating. And he's not one to take pain meds. So, he has suffered in silence, like I'm sure so many other people do. And I just didn't have any answers for him, and I didn't know. But this year in April, I got a call of an emergent situation where we just didn't know if he was going to survive. And I live in Central Texas, and he lives in Fort Worth, Texas, and it's a little over 2 hours to get there. And I know I made it in way less than that. Don't ask me how or how fast I was driving. I just knew that I needed to get to my son, and did not know that he was still going to be alive when I got there. Such a scary situation. And going through the questions and answering their questions of, what is your family history? Do if you have this or that on your maternal or your paternal side? I just couldn't answer those questions. I don't have that information. And that really sparked for me to continue the search, to keep looking, to see what I could find, to see if anybody out there has any answers, any medical history they can share with us. My son had a thyroid storm. It's rare, especially in somebody in their 20s. Who really doesn't have much of a medical history besides his neuropathy. And so the search was on to see, do we have any other thyroid issues in our family? Anybody else who's had any issues with the neuropathy pain in the lower extremities, the legs, feet, things like that. And it was really kind of crazy that when Belinda, my second cousin, reached out to me, and then I find out that we have lost family to thyroid cancer. And she herself has, her son, I believe it is, and I'll have to double check that, but I believe she told me that her son has been suffering with both lower leg pain since he was a young child as well. And she has no answers for the cause or what's happening. So not that it's good information, or I'm glad to know that information, but it does help to know that these are medical issues that are in our family and that I was unaware of before. My other cousin that has, reached out to me recently as well, was able to tell me that, we have a lot of cancer in our family, and thyroid cancer also being one of those. And so, a matter of fact, I'm going to be getting on the phone with him in just a few minutes, and I'm hoping that, come up with some more information. He has reached out and met some of our other family members. Well, he hasn't met them yet, but they're going to meet here in the next few months, and he'll be traveling to them, and he currently lives in Idaho. So I'm hoping to maybe Zoom in on a call with that reunion, or if I can't make it to that reunion myself, and I believe it's in North Carolina. So we do have family that, links back to North Carolina and Louisiana and Nebraska and so many different places. And from what I understand, I also have another cousin somewhere close to me too. So I'm excited to get that information from them and seeing if she wants to meet up sometime or do a Zoom call or maybe, join me on one of my sessions and see how exciting that would be and see just share stories, see if we can connect dots in our family histories and our medical histories. So important to me and to see if I can help, make things a little better understanding and a little more direction of where to go in our healthcare. And so my kids will know more about their life history, their connections, where I didn't know, where I felt like I was in the dark for all these years of just not knowing. And sometimes not knowing is the hardest because you don't know how to plan. You don't know what to do. You don't know if you can solve anything because it's all about being the detective and research and finding things. And so I'm hoping to be able to pass along information that helps not only my children but my grandchildren and their children as they grow and get older and have a better handle on what to expect, or if something happens then they know that there is a family history or there isn't. I'm glad y'all have come along for the journey, and I'm not on camera just because I am not prepared for camera tonight. It's, getting a little bit later here and it's kind of been a long day already. My headache has been crazy today. But I did want to jump on here and I do want you to know that I welcome you to Below the Mic, and I am so happy that you're here and spending time with me and taking time out to listen to me ramble or share a little bit of some family history and seeing where this story is going to go. And also, we'll be putting out some little clips of my next podcast with my special guest, and I'm not going to say her name just yet, but I will be releasing those clips within, the next hopefully week is our goal, as long as our schedules can line up and we can get this done. And I don't know the ending to the story that she is going to talk about, so we're all going to kind of learn a lot of this together, and that is what is part of being here on Below the Mic, is just raw stories, things that I might not know what to say, or you might even, know that I'm going to be crying by the end of it. But that's what makes it real. I want things to be real here. If you have stories and you want to share, or if you have any information that might lead me to my sister, then please reach out and share that. I would love to hear from you. Even if you don't know exactly if it's, true and you just have a lead, I'll take the lead. I will do some research and see what I can find out. Sometimes I have found that I've written notes somewhere and I go back to that notebook and I go, oh my gosh, why don't I know that this is here? And it takes me on another road, and sometimes I find something on that road, and sometimes that road is still a dead end. And I'm not gonna end the search even when finding her. I'm gonna continue the search and to help as many other people as I can. I'm not gonna give you medical advice, so please don't ask. I will tell you some stories about my nursing career in some near podcasts and some travel with my daughter during COVID and how that has affected us as a family and how it affected us during that time. And so those are really going to be some stories I want to share with you guys, and hopefully you'll stay along for the ride. If you have any questions, send me a message, go to my Facebook page, Below the Mic, and post a comment, like, share, do all those things. And I would love to hear from you, and I'll do my best to respond to each and every one of you who leave me a message or want to share your story. I can send you a link, and you can send me some snippets of your story. If you want me to tell your story, I'd be happy to for you. And if you want to tell your story and I just, put you on here, you can tell it, and I'll be present if you need me to be here, or to listen, whatever you need. And I'm here. So just let me know. And again, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me tonight. And it's Saturday night here in Central Texas, and I look forward to hearing from you guys.